Welcome back to the Smart Nonsense Podcast. This is episode 55. I'm Henry. That, as always, is Dylan. Today, we are just having a fan club Sara Diestchy episode. We've got 2 or 3 pod clubs that we're talking about. You look good. You got a haircut. Where it's mostly David Perell and Sara Diestchy, right? You're going to have to link them.
Yeah. This guy, Nik Sharma, is also on.
Oh, yeah. He's got a good story.
We're started by fanboying, fangirling, whatever you want to call it, over the first David Perell and Sara Diestchy episode. And then we discovered there were 4 more on both channels because both of them have podcasts. Then Nik comes into the mix. Nik is our age, a big brand guy. It's just so juicy. There's so much juicy
with
stuff. Works
with Vanner Media, right?
Do you say Vanner Media?
Gary Vaynerchuk?
Vayner.
Vayner.
That's tough. That's really
Gary
tough.
Vaynerchuk? Vayner? Gary Vaynerchuk?
Man. It's Gary Vaynerchuk. Just go by
Gary
Gary
Vaynerchuk. Gary, if you ever hear this, you're going to have to weigh in. I was actually watching he's got a YouTube show called Trash Talks, where he just goes garage sailing, which is what I love. It got me all hyped up. Let's just get into it.
Yeah, well, first we got to break down who the people are, then who the people that should listen to this are, and then we can start getting into this.
I can barely hear you. Come on, pump it up.
Okay.
Who needs this? Who needs Sara Diestchy? You're a little Sara Diestchy peachy pie boy.
Here's the thing. I don't even watch that many of her videos. I think I've only seen a couple. I saw her, I think, first with Peter McKinnon. And she had a little.
Okay. What? I remember her all these years ago, and I bounced in and out of her videos, but all these years ago, she parodied Casey Neistat, and that was when Casey Neistat was daily vlogging. That's how I know Sara Diestchy, but got to get back in the loop.
Yeah, I think she had a couple of these just little collabs that blew up, went viral. Mine was Peter McKinnon. Collab. Little collab. Wow, this is it. Okay, so basically, Sara now has 660,000 YouTube subscribers, and she followed an interesting course, like tried really hard in school, then dropped out to pursue the creative life, had a couple of serendipitous moments, ends up succeeding. Yeah, we'll get to that word.
That's her big thing,
Word.
serendipity.
And yeah, so she's killing it. She loves the aspect of just figuring out the creative process. Her podcast, That Creative Life, that's the episode that I want to talk about most. But yeah, she's big on that. David Perell, someone that's massive on Twitter. He's preached that. He's a writing course. It's just, I'm a big fan of David's stuff. Like right now, if I had to invest in any person in the world, it would be David. And I think I'm late to the game, but he is unbelievable. It's crazy.
And we'll talk about Serendipity. I think his story was super cool. It was at the end of this podcast on Sarah's show, but about his story of Serendipity is really good.
Yeah, so if you're anyone listening and you want to create something, you want to, whether that's a business, some sort of video, YouTube adventure, podcast, whatever it is, this is your episode. I think people in general, like a big theme in another one of the episodes was how older people just don't understand what's going on. Companies especially don't understand what's going on. But it's a complete movement. Like each person, I kind of said this, maybe it was on the podcast or after, with adults not understanding, like they had their kid. This is some example where they had like 60,000 subscribers, and the parent was like, "Oh, what are you going to do with that? Like you should go to college and do your thing." But imagine now thinking, "Oh, this is a Gillette Stadium or some football stadium filled with people, and your son is in the middle performing in front of all of them every single week."
Right. Yeah. When you put it in those terms for me, I was like, holy, like, and then scale that up, and Sara Diestchy's got 600,000 of those. Casey's got 12 million. Every single time he posts a video, he's filling, what'd you say, the state of New York?
True, 12 million. I didn't actually do the population on that, but I assume it's at least like the city of New York, greater New York.
That's absurd.
Is something like that. So I think maybe we can jump into that first, is like the idea that creators just are misunderstood and undervalued right now, because you have this entire football stadium, And I think they talk about in the beginning with what's his name, the Vine guy that now has podcasts and merch everywhere.
The Pauls brothers,
Yeah,
Logan
yeah, yeah.
Paul.
Logan
Yeah,
Paul. I don't follow him. I think they're for younger people or whatever. But
super annoying.
in New York City, they had a little pop-up shop, and for 13 blocks, it was just like 8-year-old kids and their parents lined up, and the parents have no idea why the hell their kids drag them out. But it goes on like it's the Beatles or something.
It's the new wave. David Dobrik's the same, right? He has a pop-up shop and he's selling, I think he's selling $1 million in merch a month. A month. He's doing $12 million a year in merch that says clickbait.
Right.
Like, people, wake up. The world's changing. I just texted someone that. The world is totally changing.
And right, these people are our age. And that's actually one, I forget which episode. We've listened to so many episodes regarding this, but I think, was it David Perell? Someone was like,
What were they like? Maybe I could fill in the type. Draw the dots.
No,
Connect
cutting
the
that
dots,
whole
fill in the
tangent
blank.
off. Cutting it off. My brain just shut down for 5 to 10 seconds right there. We gotta cancel.
What was it in that episode too? I think Logan Paul, he did a $300,000 brand deal with Dunkin' Donuts, and he said, "I'm going to be the first billionaire social media
that was it.
personality." And I think he couldn't be more right. Like $300,000 Dunkin' Donuts. Charlie D'Amelio just did one.
He's underpaid for that. And
yeah, that's what he said. And he said that actually wasn't enough.
Right. The other podcast that I brain farted on, but it was talking about how in the past you have the older people, the people that rose up through the ranks, got to the top, like the CEO of whatever company, they make all the money. They're 70 years old. But now you have people like, I forget his name, but started Ethereum. He's our age.
22.
Yeah, so started as a teen and made hundreds of millions of dollars off of this. You're going to have the first billionaire teenager in the next 10 years. At least that's what David Perell predicts.
Could be you.
It's not going to be me. I don't want to do that. But it's...
It'll probably be Charlie D'Amelio, if I had to make a guess, actually.
Well, how old is she?
Maybe 16.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe TikTok's everything evaporates with that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
But that's the thing. So I think that's why there's this big shift happening right now. And I think Nick made the point originally. David brings it up in the episode, but basically people are now becoming companies and companies are becoming people. Dude, that's one of the biggest, like my favorite quotes from the episode.
Think about this. So I was just filming the start of a vlog for the next 2 days, and it's about this Super 73 story, right? Where they ripped me off because I gave you a referral code, and I was fake pissed about it. So I send them this funny email, and they get back to me with a funny answer, and they give me the cash basically. And right there, it's like companies are acting more like people, and if they're not, like, forget about it. You're gone. Think about banks. And I was talking about this in the video too, is like everything they do to make money is like to give you a hard time. It's overdraft fees, it's APR, it's like all this gross stuff. And if they keep doing that and don't treat their customers like a friend, or like in this changing world, they're not going to make it. I think that's why Schwab's such a great bank, but now we're talking about banking.
Yeah, I think everyone's recognizing this, and
it's the last frontier. What did he say about the moat?
Right.
Like,
Warren Buffett famously talks about the moat, and companies have these moats, and usually that's their brand value or some sort of patents that they have protecting whatever it is. But no one else can replicate what they're doing, and that's the protection from competition. And so now your ultimate protection, the last line of defense, is your personality, is your just humanness as a company. And that's why there's so much success, and that's why people are buying so much. Like, that's why the Pauls are making millions off of their merch, or same with Dobrik, where it's just like, hey, as soon as I start preaching something that I'm into, my whole wave of millions of people are going to start buying it.
Yep. And for me, that was everything Casey Neistat and Peter McKinnon said. I was buying that. I was buying those lenses Peter's talking about, and his, polarizer filters that are like Peter McKinnon branded. That's the wave.
What was interesting for me is this idea too of more native content. And I'm curious, I guess in 2 podcasts, they talked about growth strategies. This was in the David Perell episode or podcast, but he talked about how, Sarah talked about how collabs aren't the same. Like collabs in the past, that's how Sarah came up on my radar, but they're no longer going to do it.
So
like
you say Vaynerchuk, which may or may not be right, but you also say collab, like a collab. It's a collab. Collab.
Just because you say it and it doesn't sound as cool doesn't mean you have to get self-conscious. Here's what's going on, all right? So collaboration. Not collaboration.
Not collaboration.
All right, I don't
this
care
here
anymore.
My collaboration.
So Belky's trying to do all these collaborations, but now they're not going to get you the same attention they used to. You got to maybe consider some sort of paid marketing or something like that. And what was interesting is you're so used to, like, say you go on YouTube, you'll get hit with like a Pepsi ad or something, and it's very like a TV ad style. But now what they're noticing is the most effective advertising is it looks like just another video from Sarah, but now it's branded. So you can't differentiate what's the ad and what's not. And I've seen this on Instagram too, scrolling. I'm like, is this an ad or is this like a normal
It's
thing?
really bad on TikTok because they make the ads look like TikToks.
That's the wave, and we're just noticing it now, but it is so powerful. And that's what happened. They mentioned Despacito music video, how it's the most viewed video ever in human history because especially because they made it a paid ad in the beginning of every video, and people just ended up watching the entire ad because it's just catchy. So that's something maybe to consider.
That's how they blast it off.
That's how they, I think especially.
I thought we were anti-ads.
Well, now I'm like, oh shit.
All these things just go back and forth. That's what's so hard is when you listen and consume this much stuff, you have to just like pick out the right things for you. Because we read one book and it says, don't advertise ever. You should only have 5 customers that truly love you. And then another, like Basecamp, right, where Fried says, well, you should never hedge all your business on 10 customers because if one leaves, that's 10%. So
it's just different ways of finding your true fans. We actually talked about this with Avatar, where I was kind of roasting his strategy subtly with long form content, but it's just like, no, the long form people that are true fans will read all my long form. I was just reading David Perell's blog on Serendipity, and we'll mention it, but we'll get to it later. It's one of the best blog posts I've ever read, and I'm going to share it today in my email. And Sunday Smart, by the way. And it's like, I don't know, man. I'm just, I don't know what my point was originally. Now I got excited about Serendipity.
I think David Perell's another one of these just really wise people.
Can I read you?
How old is he?
He's maybe like a year or 2 older than us.
They talked about this in the podcast, though, this age thing.
Dude, right. It's astounding. So I like this one quote. This is from the Serendipity article.
Bring it up.
All right.
It's a podcast about Sara Diestchy. We're talking about David Perell.
I like them all.
That's not true. Yeah,
they're all fascinating. They bring up fascinating points. If Facebook connects you with people from your past, Twitter connects you with people in your future. That's so cool. It's so true too, because he's talking about the power of DMing, and we're just discovering this. And Facebook, like, oh, everyone's like, oh, stay connected to your high school friends. Well, now Twitter is like, stay connected to your millionaire friend or your success friends. And it's
so, okay, yeah. Let's talk about serendipity. This is something Sarah talks a lot about. Serendipity. Well, I kind of want to talk about college because she's so unapologetic about dropping out of college. And I love that. That she's so honest that like, and the 3 of them really in this podcast is you just like don't need, unless you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or I don't know, maybe you go into banking, like you don't need to go to college anymore. And I think David Perell was saying there's a big difference between the $2,000 community college and the $55,000 a year public school or Ivy League institution. But we call them both college. But there's such like huge spread of power or tools that those things both give you. I'm not speaking, but I think it's important what they have to say about just like being just like curious about things, and I don't know.
You want another quote? I'll give you another
Bring
quote,
it up.
baby.
Bring it up.
David
I'm having
Perell.
trouble putting words together.
I know. I saw it. Me too. I'm brain farting. But this quote is written down.
It's Sunday.
The industrial age rewarded hard work. The information age rewards obsession.
Yeah. And then when they talk about in terms of finding the new wave, like you gotta be in with the tech geeks, because they're the ones doing this on the weekend in the after hours just because they love it. That's how you find the new stuff. But I think that's really important because it's something our parents don't understand. And I've said this before on here. Our parents come from a generation where you could work as hard as you possibly wanted or could, and you could be comfortably upper middle class with awesome benefits and a great pension, and like anybody could do that. Anybody. And that's not the case anymore. We don't reward hard work anymore. It's all about obsession. That's super cool.
Yeah, I think that's why Twitter, I forget what they call it exactly, but it is an interest-based social media. So I think that's part of your problem with Facebook in particular is I don't know how to define that necessarily. It's more like just a social media. I don't know, but Twitter just doesn't seem. It seems like you're reading blog posts, or you're reading articles, you're reading books in some cases with what people write, but it's just a different form, and I think it shouldn't be associated with social media and the negative connotations that has.
I'd agree. I mean, it obviously has its pros and cons, but it's the breadth of Twitter that is so different. It's like I've been on Facebook since 2009, maybe, and in 1 week on Twitter, I've expanded my circle of like consumption of things that I value a millionfold. A millionfold. That's the difference.
What's cool too, because David, when they talk about how their lives are Twitter, like they are so engrossed in this world, and that's why you see David's podcast, Sarah's podcast, they all have amazing guests on all of it because they're DMing people on Twitter and they're just involved in this community. David's big on having friends too that are unlike your normal friends. Like these are radically honest friends that are just all on the same path.
Let's talk about friends right after this. Wasn't that how I think David got in contact with Sarah? Is like someone got pinged. The Hint. Is this guy from Hint?
Yeah.
God,
Nik,
all these things are jumbling up in my head.
Nik has his own brand. I think it's called like Sharma.
Okay, so
he
basically,
represented them.
One of their phones, they were in San Francisco, and they see Sara Diestchy uploaded a video, and then they get talking. They're like, "Oh, you watch Sara Diestchy?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I think she follows me. Like, let me DM her." And then a minute and a half later, like they're booked for whatever conversation.
Right, and Sarah's already responded to me on Twitter, and I'm a nobody. Like, especially if you have that blue check mark, it's unbelievable. So that's Ian mentioned it. Episode,
thank you,
43.
Ian.
I want to say. Yeah, he completely changed everything for us there. So we're still getting into it, but it's fantastic. What's interesting too with how creators interact with businesses, I guess this was on an earlier thread we were talking about, but yesterday you sent me, what's his name? I'm forgetting the engineer. Michael Reeves video.
Please put that in the show notes. It's unlike anything I've ever seen for a brand deal.
Right. And that's just kind of, I mean, Amazon's usually on the cutting edge. They're a little bit chill, but they're a big company. And like, there's a lot of friction in the creative process. And that was one of the big takeaways is like, people don't see the behind the scenes, how much work is required. And so they're basically going back and forth. And Amazon's like, hey, Michael, you should make your video like XYZ. They have to
they sent him a whole like storyboard of slides, and like at this minute in the video you have to do this, this, and this, but you can't say this word. And
that's actually what it's funny you share that with me. It's shareable viral content when people are just like fuck you to normal companies. Everyone gets behind that. That's what happened with Casey Neistat with the Nike video when he's like fuck it, I'm just going to take this money and travel the world with it. That's what connects
To
with
make
people.
a broader point, yeah.
And like that was one of the realizations that they had, was like, hey, if you're a company right now and you can approach someone that's a creator, one, you can get them for much less
Wait, but
than,
say
say, a
what happened. What
billboard.
did Michael Reeves do? Oh, you don't want to say it? So, well, he gets this like pitch deck from Amazon, and he spends the video basically just being like, Amazon told me to do this, and I'm not going to do that. And it's done 5.5 million views in 4 days.
Right.
And like, okay, we know for a fact that bad news is still new. Like, it's just a funny video. This is in the vein of Michael Reeves, but like, these are still 5.5 million eyeballs. Whether he was really shitting on Amazon or not, it's like Amazon was talked about and seen by 5.5 million people.
And
for
now
this
it's going to
brand.
be another 100 with this episode, baby.
Yes.
At least.
Can we talk about surrounding yourself with the right people? That was important.
Yeah, I think. Well, that's okay. So we mentioned it before. Like, I think everyone on Twitter, you just get swept up in it. And so you're in that world. Naval says like his main friends are there. It's funny. That's kind of, I think, how Nick and David met. And I wanted to mention this too, because, okay, Nick and David both think they're like the smartest people in the world, each of them, in whatever their specific industry is. Same thing with Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. I'm reading poor Charlie's almanac right now. But just these super smart people, they get together. And what's funny is like David will put on Otter, which transcribes anything, and they'll just record all their conversations and turn it into blog posts, whatever, the next day. But it's just these super productive, intellectual, curious conversations because they're obsessed with whatever the field is.
Which is how these started. That's
Right.
why it was so interesting for me to hear.
Except I just don't think you're the smartest, and you don't think I'm the smartest. Somehow that's the nonsense.
It's fine. Stuff. We've said it before. It's like this kind of practice of constructive discussion is what cements like all of these things we're consuming all the time. I feel like since we've started these, I just remember things more when it comes to like recalling creators and what they're doing. And
yeah, honestly, I would recommend people just start a podcast just to keep themselves accountable to reading books or listening to podcasts and like thinking more deeply about them. Because now I have my main takeaways. I have obsession over hard work. People become companies, companies become people. Also, hiring is the number one struggle for businesses in general, creators specifically. It's just a really cool process. And so it's nice to have people around you. Actually, David just said, because he used to be in New York, but I think he's since moved to Austin, where a lot of creators are moving right now. I'm like, maybe we go to Austin.
Screw Chicago.
A little creator. Yeah, Chicago first. But I love the idea. I want a little creator studio so bad. That's what he was actually talking about in a much longer ago podcast that I listened to. Was like him and 7 buddies just like having a house and just, you have your little brain
These
blast
were like
together.
the hacker houses of 2007. That was the thing. We just had 20 people in Silicon Valley living in this hacker house, paying next to nothing, and you just grind with people that are like you.
I want to do that so bad.
The important thing, I don't know if it came from this podcast, but when it comes to friends and founding things and being an entrepreneur, it's something like, your friends have to be, it's good to get feedback, but it can't be anything that makes you second guess your instincts as an entrepreneur. Something like that. I don't think it was in this podcast. I don't know where it was. But it's like you need someone, I forget it.
Well, I remember David talking about the type of content he put out, and he's like, if he just had a gut feeling, he was going to put that out or just make whatever he wanted.
It's from somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about there, but it's good. It's like another quote, which I'll find right now. This was from the blog post on Serendipity. So fucking good.
Okay,
but
yeah.
Jim Watson of Watson and Crick, who found DNA, he said, avoid boring people.
Wait, in avoid boring people or avoid being boring to people?
No, avoid boring people. Like, cut them out.
Okay.
And I love that. The essence of just like surround yourself, whether through Twitter or through your own friends, like just find that group.
Yeah.
It's funny, my dad, because I'm being super boring. Like I suck as a person right now. For anyone that talks to me in real life, I'm just like very serious. I just got my haircut and I had a lot of trouble connecting with my barber. He's like, "What are you doing today?" I'm like, I'm probably going to shoot a podcast. I'm like, oh, that was about it.
You gotta.
It was a
Yeah,
real struggle for a conversation. But
you need to talk to people other than just me.
I know. That's why we got to start getting more guests on the pod.
I can see it. I can just see it.
Yeah, I've just been a bummer. Sorry for
Come
everyone
on, get
in my
back to
life
boring
right now.
people.
I
Yourself
don't know.
included.
That's just a really good quote. Another cool. I don't know if we want to shift topics or stay on the friends thing.
Shift it.
But
I love that it's Sunday evening and here's okay, really quick. This is a big thing I'm having with my family right now. It's a holiday weekend. I don't get holidays. I don't do holidays. Okay, they want me to take tomorrow off to go to I don't get. Yes, I can elect to do that, right? Because I'm my own boss. However, it's Monday, and I have planned to do things on Monday. I don't know what Labor Day is.
right, we
now
have
I'm here on
half of our team is over in the Philippines. They don't give a fuck about Labor Day.
Fuck that. So now I'm here on a Sunday working because apparently tomorrow it's a holiday. So that's my little entrepreneur diatribe.
Well, I don't stop. I'm
This has
gonna
happened
send
before.
this in my email today too. I am obsessed with Notion, which I got to show you my whole workflow. I'm looking at
Let's
my
do
Notion
an episode
notes.
on it.
We're
You
gonna
share
have
your
to.
screen, do the whole thing.
I'm gonna
Because I've been really on the fence about Notion.
It's unbelievable. I'm really excited about
Speaking of Notion and Sara Diestchy, one thing that interests me about her, Notion, delegation, and Sara Diestchy, it seems like, and I would love to talk to her about this. I think you would love to talk to her about this, but it seems like she's having a very difficult time replacing herself. And she talks about it in all these. I've listened to 4 or 5 podcasts in the last day with her on them, and she keeps saying like, "You would not believe the managerial stuff I have to do now that I have this company that I run that is myself." And she said this funny thing. This was in a different David Perell podcast, but she was like, "I can't find someone to edit my videos in this YouTube style, which is different than weddings and corporate and commercial and all that stuff. Because if they were that good at it, they'd just be doing it themselves on YouTube." And I think you found one, and you found one for me, an editor in that sense, that is really, really good at what they do in the YouTube style. And so I just wonder if she's looked hard enough.
Well, one similar to how Twitter is a secret superpower once you find it, hiring in the Philippines is a secret superpower once you find it. So if you're listening right now and you need someone, there you go. Go watch episode 33 or whatever the hell it was when I shot. No, it was something earlier than that. Whatever. But we go through the hiring process, and it's interesting because, yeah, she says that, like, a few people are outliers. I know we watched Ryan Serhant's videos. He's from $1 Million Listing New York.
Doesn't
he has
do
a creative
thing.
team with
Yeah,
him.
sorry.
But he wasn't a creator to start a video, so it's hard to hand that off. What's interesting is I think people in the Philippines, one, the opportunity isn't, like, if you're a YouTuber there, it's harder because you're selling to most likely a Filipino audience if you were to start your own brand. Plus, generally speaking, entrepreneurship's a little bit scarier there than maybe culturally it is here. So there are just a lot of barriers that keep good editors just wanting to work for someone that can give them stable income. And I think that's a big part of why we're having success with just the team we've built so far. And so maybe she hasn't explored that option. It's also scary. But what's interesting, Serendipity related, is how she had
let's
a fan.
close out with Serendipity.
There you go. She had a fan that was into her content and just would post these memes every so often that were hilarious and would show up on her Twitter feed or just get her attention somehow. And then after 2 years of just this fan doing it, she finally reaches out to him, which he probably could have reached out to her first, but reaches out and like, "Hey, I love what you're doing. Can you do this for my podcast? And I'd pay you." And so now I'm sure he's happy because he's in like the Caribbean or something, and now he's making $1,000 a month or whatever, just doing what he was doing before for free.
That's
And
exactly
so
it.
it's that's why they're just craving people that are good creators. We've kind of found our sweet spot, but you can be that with anyone. That's what I was with the YouTuber that I wanted to work for. You just put out stuff that you think that they might like, get on their radar.
Right. And it's
Boom.
it's like an evolution, right? Like I was editing for other people on YouTube as well. And then when you're ready to like you've trained those editing muscles, then you can go on and do your own thing. And um okay, let's talk about Serendipity. What I got from it at the end of the podcast, I'm just literally defining serendipity here being the occurrence and development of events by chance in a beneficial way. What I got at the end of the podcast was like, while these things seem serendipitous, right? It's like if you saw what went on behind the scenes, and yes, part of it was lucky, but they were also just like the three of them grinding in their own respects and took every opportunity that came their way. Sara, I know, like early on at the beginning of Casey's daily vlogging, when he had 1 million subscribers, sent him a package for him to open on mail time. He did that. She got 100 subscribers. She was stoked. And then she had a new series of a podcast to launch. And she's like, I'm going to try this again, but I'm going to do it better. Like, so then she sends a better package, and Casey gives her a half of an episode of his daily vlog dedicated to Sara Diestchy because she parodied him. And that's when she went from 4,000 subs to 90,000 subs. And like, so yes, while it is serendipitous, she also like put her foot down and went to work and created that luck and that opportunity for herself. And that's what's so important.
Well, that's what all three of them talk about at the end of the podcast, because I think we mentioned a little bit before, but David Perell, he actually has a post on this talking about serendipity, like I said, and he calls it the like build your serendipity vehicle. And so his vehicle at the time, when he's a big writer, so for his blog, but also with his podcast, that's how episode 7 was with Neil deGrasse Tyson, because an earlier guest, he was like, hey, do you know anyone that might be good on the pod? He's like, oh, actually, maybe my best friend, Neil deGrasse Tyson. And so Neil's like, whatever, he goes to ABC in the morning, gets interviewed there, then goes to whatever, the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and then right in the middle of the day, he goes on this North Star podcast with this no-name kid, David Perell, and does an episode there. Same thing with Nik Sharma. He's just
he got in touch with some influencer or something.
It was
and
a
then
model. A model
yeah.
then got connected to the manager. The manager was also connected then to Pitbull, and Pitbull needed someone to help with marketing. And so they're like, okay, here's this kid, comes and takes over.
And all three of the stories, I'm like, all three of the all three of the stories that they had, all three of the stories that they brought up at the end of the podcast were instances of them just like saying yes to things that a lot of people wouldn't. And that's the difference. That's really it. It's just like putting yourself in a position where you can act on kind of anything. I have obviously a lot of friends who are like employed full time, and they can't act on all the things that I have the opportunity to act on. And I think that's the difference.
Well, for example, like our friend who we just talked to, Jack, basically, we haven't released the episode. We're still talking about that, but he's leaving Chicago for a month, basically. And there's the serendipity. Oh, you have a free room? Well, can I slide in there for a month and, free housing essentially. And yeah, there's the serendipity.
And it's important, if you were locked in, if this were another world or another year and you were locked into commuting to your office in Rhode Island every day, like you wouldn't be able to fly to Chicago on Tuesday.
Or didn't have the serendipity vehicle of the podcast, because I probably wouldn't have had that conversation with Jack in the first place.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's serendipity. Is just, I hate to say it, but it's like keeping doors open. I don't like just like keeping doors open, but it's like being rational about the doors you have open.
I think they made this point, and it's interesting because one, you get in a door, and often it's a back door that you wouldn't have expected, and then you discover it's a whole maze of other doors that just is like this underworld that people don't see. That's what's happening on Twitter. That's what's happening in a lot of places, podcasts. And so now you're just discovering this complete maze of just treasure, this whole world that no one sees. There you go.
That's a
Belky,
great way to end it.
Know what? I just realized the next episode, because I'm traveling Tuesday, I don't think we can shoot then. It might be in person.
Yeah, we're not shooting tomorrow.
Not shooting tomorrow or Tuesday.
Wait. When do you get here Tuesday? Not Tuesday. Okay, Wednesday.
Evening. No,
Wednesday.
I get Tuesday.
Hey, we're going to get hot dogs or something?
Yeah, let's get hot dogs.
Okay, if you're in the Chicagoland area, you're not going to hear this in time. Dylan and I will be at Gene and Jude's on, I think it's on Des Plaines,
just
River Road. Okay, we got to go.
All
we
right,
got to go.
Belky, that was fun. Sarah, we're going to have you on the podcast one day. Same with David.
I
Same
sure
with
hope
Nick.
so.
I'm excited. All right, Belky, I'll see
Take
you
care.
in Chicago.